Well, yeah, the message needs to be transparent, right? So a lot of the people who are sending messages out there or trying to influence others is only for their own benefit, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like today on your podcast, I'm trying to send a message out there so that way I can inspire others.
Exactly.
But it's got nothing to do with me. Like, I just want to inspire others. I want people to know my story so that way they can do well as well.
Yeah.
You know.
Welcome to the Shredology podcast, your go-to source of motivation, inspiration, and transformation to help you live and breathe the aesthetic lifestyle. Join us as we dive deep into all things fitness, marketing, entrepreneurship, and technology. Each week, we will share stories and experiences from inspiring individuals around the world. Now, here is your host, Jerwin Parker.
Welcome everyone to this special episode of the Shredology podcast. You can see here visually we have our first in-person interview / episode, and I am super duper excited to have him on the show. Graden, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. Look at this background, amazing. Just as a little introduction to Graden, he is the director of TeamGMF, the home of natural bodybuilding. He is the classic physique world champion. He is a martial artist.
Correct.
He is a father. He is a man of many things. But Graden, how are you?
I'm good. Very well, thank you.
How are you feeling today?
I'm good. Day's been good. Busy, but you know,
busy
well
man.
good. Yeah.
So look, this episode, we can obviously see the successes here. So what I wanted to dive deep into, where I see the value, is telling your story, seeing how did you become the man you are today. So I feel like that's where I wanted to take this episode. What do you feel like?
Yeah, sure. I'm open-ended book, so whatever you want to ask me, I'm ready for it.
Beautiful. Okay, let's get started. So we got some water here.
Thank you.
We'll get comfortable. I guess the first question I'd ask is, what was your childhood like growing up?
Growing up, it was hard. I mean, my parents, they worked very hard in order for them to put a roof over our heads and provide food on the table. They did what they had to do. So obviously I needed to do what I needed to do as a child. I didn't have any siblings for about 10 years. So it was tough. I grew up on my own. My parents had to work many hours. I remember my dad working two jobs in order for him to provide for us. So I had to carry myself. I had to take myself to school and pack my own lunches and do a lot of the things on my own, find my own way. Even though mum and dad were there to support, it was hard from a non-English speaking background. So a lot of the things that I needed to teach myself, and obviously understand the Australian culture as well.
Yeah.
I mean, even though I was born here, but coming from a non-English speaking background, there's a lot of cultural differences.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, so I like to say that my younger siblings now have got away with a lot. So yeah.
Ah, interesting. How many siblings do you have?
Two.
Two.
My brother's the middle one.
Oh wow.
The troublemaker.
Yeah.
And then I've got my young baby sister. She's the youngest. Yeah.
Okay. Was she a troublemaker as well?
No, she's a sweet girl. She's innocent.
Yeah,
she loves all her K-pop and all this Asian drama stuff. So she's right into that. She's always the baby.
Yeah. So there was like a 10-year age gap, right?
Yeah, there is.
So you were like that, obviously the older brother that had to sort of set that example growing up.
Yeah, I mean, like there was a lot of expectations, especially dad not coming from East Timor, not having a lot of opportunities. Obviously, coming from a non-English speaking background and trying to learn the ways of Australian life. There was a lot of expectations from my end to make sure that we did well and obviously bring up the family name and so on. I think in those times they pushed you, and understand the core ethics of hard work, which I value today. Yeah.
Yeah, and you could see all that hard work's paid off.
Thank you. I'm still trying, still striving, still trying to work hard.
Yeah.
I think that's just ingrained in me as such a young child.
Amazing.
So,
Amazing. So let's take it back to young Graden again. What did he want to be when he grew up?
Look, I've always been inspired by martial arts. Like, I started martial arts when I was 6, and my biggest hero growing up was Jean-Claude Van Damme. You know, I hit the body, the splits, the kicks. I was inspired by him. So, you know, I sort of mimicked a lot of my my martial arts, more of the scenery part on him. But, you know, I wanted to be the best I can be in whatever I did. You know, growing up as a child, I was always a child that pushed my limits and just try and pursue it in anything I could do. So I remember in primary school, you know, I did really well in athletics. I was the primary school captain.
Oh, wow.
I was in the debating team. I did everything that I could. I was in it. Even arts and crafts, I was doing it and coming out on top, you know. Academics, I don't think I was a smart kid. But I did try very hard, and I was always on top. So, and then that also reflected in high school. So, same thing again. I was this high school captain. I was the captain of our football team. You know, I did from regional athletics to state athletics. You know, I got Sportsman of the Year in high school. You know, so all these things. I just, like I said, I didn't think I was a smart kid. I was one of those kids that just tried very hard and did the best I could.
It's very inspirational. So where did you start practicing martial arts?
So back then, it was in the 90s. So I was practicing martial arts at the age of 6. And back then, my parents were working till late, so I had carers who actually cared for me, which was like a family friend. So we used to call them carers. So they would pick me up from school and then drop me off at their house, and I would stay there until my parents could actually pick me up. So one time my parents picked me up and they drove past the martial arts school a few times, and I looked up and I could see karate kids training outside the window there, and I was like, oh, could you take me there? And so my dad took me there, and that's how I started. I just took an interest, you know. So,
And you felt that sort of heart-held passion inside you as soon as you started practicing
it grew. Like, I mean, if it wasn't for my dad not taking me
there,
you know, to karate, then I wouldn't know nothing about it. So he took me, and but he didn't even know how good I really was. You know, I was practicing from Monday and Wednesday nights. It was 5 to 6 o'clock twice a week, and I did that for up until my teens.
Wow.
So it was consistent, but Dad wasn't there, or even my mum wasn't there to watch me, you know. So they just thought, okay, just put him in there and whatever happens, happens. But I was actually pursuing, you know, training really hard. Again, that's just my nature, right? Trying really hard and doing really, really well, you know. So to become one of the top students, if not the top student, with my sensei. So even till today, I'm the only student out of his school who's actually pursued in it.
Yeah.
You know, all the other students before me and even after me has never gone as far as I did. So, yeah, I think it was, again, it's just in my nature.
Are you surprised about that? The fact that you're still practicing.
When I look back at it, all the achievements that I've done, it surprises me. But during the time frame, no. Like that's just who I am. I'm built like that.
Yeah.
You know,
Love it.
But when I reflect, which I'm now learning to do as in my mid-30s now, I am starting to now learn to reflect and take time to reflect and appreciate all the things that I have done in my life. And I think that's important, because as we are growing up in our, you know, teens, in our 20s, and even in my early 30s, everything was go, go, go. And in today's society, it is go, go, go. And sometimes people do tend to forget all the achievements that they've done, and they're just thinking about, okay, what's the next thing that I need to do? What's the next big thing? What's the next thing? And now I'm coming into a point where, okay, I need to reflect and take some time and appreciate the things that I've done and tell the stories, which is why, you know, thank you for having me on your podcast again and tell these stories, because if there wasn't for opportunities like this, then no one would hear the stories.
Exactly.
I'm no one great. I don't think I am anyone great. I'm just an average kid from the West and just doing my best.
Who's built this from the ground up, from the roots, and that's very inspirational. I think I speak for a lot of people. We find a lot of inspiration from what you do. Not even just see the results, but the actions that you do every day. Like
Thank you.
how long have you been waking up at 4:30 in the morning, for example? See that on Instagram every single morning.
Yeah. See, like I'm consistent like that, right?
Yeah.
I'm a creature of habit.
Yeah.
So I've been waking up like at that time for a long time now, and I love the challenge. It's the discipline. It's not the fact of waking up at 4 o'clock. It's the fact of getting disciplined enough to go to bed early enough so that way you can wake up at 4 o'clock. And I love that challenge, and also at the same time, the sacrifices that you have to make. So, and I'll explain this. The discipline to go to sleep at 8 o'clock, I think that's the easy part for me.
Yeah.
That's easy. That being disciplinary with that is fine. However, the sacrifice that I need to make to go to sleep at 8 o'clock, that's where the challenge is, because I'm now leaving my wife and my kids behind. So I can go to sleep first, so I can get up at 4 o'clock while the kids are still awake for another half hour or an hour. So that's the sacrifice that I make. So therefore, if I'm getting up at 4 o'clock and I made that sacrifice the night before, I want to make sure that tomorrow when I wake up, I am doing something. I'm not wasting time. So when I wake up at 4, I'm in the gym and I'm training for a purpose, and if I'm going to be working or if I'm going to be coaching, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to make a difference and I'm not wasting that time. So my day already starts from 8 o'clock at night rather than 4 o'clock in the morning.
I love that.
Yeah, so that's how I see it. And again, it will reflect on the kids. I mean, I always see that, I am their father. So if I'm able to show through action and not just speech, then they can too, see that.
See it as an example.
And also, learn from that, right? So I think that's where today's society, a lot of it goes wrong, because there is a lot less action now, a lot of talking.
Yeah.
You have a lot of social influence.
Social media, yeah.
Very, very famous, popular people on social media, but no action. A lot of talk. So I'm very old school like that. So yeah.
Which is why I love it. It's I think it's like very valuable in today's society. You're still talking about it fast paced. It's a lot of anyone can be an influencer nowadays.
Yes.
Anyone can give themselves titles, right? But it's the actions behind that. It's like, hey, like, where's this going to take you 5 years from now, 10 years from now?
Yeah, I didn't even know what, even 5 years ago, if you asked me what's I'm going to be a social influencer, or even 3 years ago, I think, I was saying, what are you talking about? What is that?
Yeah.
What is the influencer? What do they do?
Yeah.
And I see people's bios saying I'm an influencer. I was like, what's this? So they show me, and I'm like, okay, I just see photos of this person, but what have they done? And they've got maybe a nice body, or it's all talk, right?
Yeah.
And then when you look deeper into it, they're honestly they're nobodies. It's just a Instagram thing, right?
Yeah.
So I think you need to look deeper than that. If you're going to be an actual influencer, I think that you need to have some backing and been there, done it, before you give actual advice to influence others. Yeah. I think that's very important.
Yeah.
So people can really understand, where you're coming from.
Yeah. And that brings up to the issue of the fake natties, fake influencers, because people can take things and then they can get this result and then they lie about how they got there, and then it sort of misspreads that information. And if you're an influencer, you want to be influencing the right things as opposed to the wrong things. And I think that's where the message needs to be
transparent, right? So a lot of the people who are sending messages out there or trying to influence others is only for their own benefit, right? Yeah. Whereas today on your podcast, I'm trying to send a message out there so that way I can inspire others.
Exactly.
But it's got nothing to do with me. I just want to inspire others. I want people to know my story so that way they can do well as well.
Yeah.
You know.
Love that. Let's bring it back there. Let's with your story. With respect to how you wake up every day at 4:30 a.m. Was that ingrained on you when you were growing up? Like, did your parents make you go to sleep early, right? Or was it more so you learning that?
No, it was definitely ingrained from an early age.
Yeah.
Like, my parents they woke up and they went to work while I was still in bed.
Yeah.
And I had to get up in order for myself to catch the bus.
Yeah.
And then catch the bus back home, or make sure that I get to my carer's place, you know, and so on. Yeah, so waking up early was, like, if you're not up before 6, it's, you know, you're already late. Yeah. So that's our household. And even today, even on Sundays, I still get up early. So it's just ingrained in me.
Yeah. That's I think that's a strong habit to have. I remember, you know, you talking to me about, hey, here's your new program. Have your first meal at 4:30 in the morning, and then I think we spoke recently about, you know, waking up a little bit later, an hour, 2 hours. It could throw you off your whole path, your whole day, and your structure. You know, you get 10 minutes too late, you get stuck in traffic. 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's right.
It's such a butterfly effect.
Yeah, that's right. Like, I hate being late.
Yeah.
I hate being, like, if I'm half an hour early, I'm already half an hour late. I love to be on time. I'm that type of person.
Yeah.
And I also expect the same, which is why you can see, like, everyone at GMF, it's clockwork, right? People rock up on time.
Yeah.
You know, and then they get their session done, next person's in.
Yeah.
You know, so, and I embrace that discipline. It's important.
Yeah.
You know, it's respect.
Yeah.
It's respect, right? You got to respect people's times. It's important. Yeah,
for sure. So, taking it back to, say, your teenage years, how was that?
Yeah, it was good. I had a really good teenage years growing up. I was very focused, very driven in the martial arts. And then there was an age where I started football, right, playing rugby league.
Wow, you played rugby league? I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I played rugby league for about 10 years. It's something that I don't really talk about, but I played rugby league.
Really?
Yes,
what position did you play?
Yeah, so I played rugby league, and I did really well in that.
Yeah.
But something that it wasn't something that I tried to pursue in and try to be the best at that I could. But again, just being naturally athletic, I did really well at. For me, it was just, again, a different focal point from the martial arts because it was very individualized. You weren't necessarily playing in a team. It was just, you know, your own accord. So being in that environment, again, brought me a different element of training with other people and enjoying my time. So I used it more for enjoyment and playing with friends as opposed to trying to make it into the reps. Which I did anyway. I started repping, you know, representatives for West Magpies.
Wow.
You know, so I went from just playing club football to the next level.
Oh, yeah.
So, but you know, the coaches wanted me to keep pursuing, but I didn't. So I just wanted to.
So why didn't you?
No, because it was just play for me.
Yeah.
You know, my main focus was the martial arts and kickboxing.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, so that was my main goal, and achieving my black belt and being the best I can with the martial arts. And and at the same time, my dad making sure that, you know, that I was on the right path as well. Yeah.
Okay, so you pursued martial arts. When did it get to the point where you started to pick up the weights?
15.
15.
So, yes.
Okay.
15. I would say maybe 14 or 15 years old. I started lifting weights.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I at the martial arts school where I was at, it was half martial arts and the other side was the gym. So which is why you can see the setup here at GMF. Half of it again is martial arts and the other half is the gym. So yeah, that's where I started. That's where I got influenced by lifting.
Yeah.
I seen the muscles and all that stuff. And again, watching Van Damme having all the muscles, you know, I was definitely interested in that. The look was the look.
Yeah.
Yeah, so age 15, started lifting, just plain, you know, bicep curls, push-ups, you know, trying to bench. Yeah, and just watching guys in the gym, whatever they were doing, I was just like, yeah, let's try this, try that.
Yeah, so it's a lot of bro science type experimentation.
Oh, yeah, there was
no internet back then.
No way. There was no internet. It was like, who's the biggest guy?
Yeah.
Watch him.
Get advice from him.
Yeah, something like that. Okay, let's do it. You know, and then you just went for it.
Did you get any bad advice?
Bad advice?
Yeah, from the biggest dude.
Mate, even the bad advice was the best advice because you didn't know any different. And I think that was the best part, you know, growing up, especially in the 90s back then, because you weren't scared. There wasn't so much political correctness. It's like, if this is the way to go, then
you do it.
You just do it. Whereas nowadays, people are so scared to do anything in the gym because they're scared of doing it wrong or looking like an idiot. Well, how are you going to learn from your mistakes? So I'm obviously now, if I look back at how I used to live in my teens, I mean, I'm going to be laughing at myself, you know. But again, that's how you build your foundations, and
how you learn.
Again, that's how I learned hard work, because even though I might be doing the technique wrong, I was aggressive enough to train really hard to try and put some muscle on.
Yeah.
You know, so you can't teach that. You know, you just got to do it, and from doing it, you actually you learn the art of hard work. You know, and then you start learning technique, and then obviously, you take your physique to the next level.
When did you start thinking, okay, like, I'm doing martial arts, I'm doing a bit of bodybuilding, from age 15 to what was the age where you started to think, I think I should start my own company?
It was influenced as I was growing up in my teens, because in my teens, one of my senseis was also establishing another school in Campbelltown at the time.
Okay.
So when I got my license, that's when I started driving to Campbelltown. So I was driving from Hinchinbrook to Campbelltown to teach his classes. And so going from Ford and back, I was thinking, okay, maybe in the future, this is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be teaching martial arts for the rest of my life. That's what it was. So by doing all those things, you know, gave me a lot of experience and confidence to do what I do today. And it wasn't about the money. It wasn't about getting paid. I didn't want it to work. Sometimes I did so many sessions and classes for free.
Yeah.
You know, I still remember getting paid maybe like, it was $25 a week. You know, per class, I was getting paid $15 a class.
Wow.
You know, so yeah, it wasn't about the money. It was more about the experience and the enjoyment and passion for martial arts. So he will say, yeah, Graden, do you mind teaching a class in Campbelltown? I went with him, and, you know, that's how we did it.
Went from there.
Yeah, we went from there. You know, so from there then led to the next part, you know, of, oh, maybe I want to open up my own school one day and have my own students and have my own way of teaching and so on. Yeah.
So you didn't even have it as the goal of mind, because I think a lot of people who want to start their businesses or who want to start on their journey, they sort of start with that objective and they want it instantly. For you, you're sort of like...
It led one thing to another.
One thing to another.
That's why I tell everybody when they see the success of the business, or just even business in general, it's passion first, then business second.
Yeah.
You know, I've always been passionate about fitness in general, martial arts and bodybuilding, anything to do with fitness. I'm passionate about it. If you want to talk about it, I could talk about it for days.
Yeah.
And then it was business second. You know, so it was never intent for me to open up a gym so I can make tons of money and forget about my clientele.
Yeah.
You know, you being here, you can see the amount of time that I put with my guys.
For sure, yeah.
You know, not just teaching them how to lift weights, but the mentoring and even just the life aspects of it.
Yeah.
You know, so because I'm so passionate about it. You know, so yeah.
So what was your biggest challenges getting to this point where you're at right now?
Every day is a challenge. I think definitely having the concept of being very disciplined, dedicated to my craft has helped me push forward and push more and keep pursuing with what I'm doing. Especially the time when everyone went through COVID. It was tough for everybody.
Yeah.
And a lot of people gave up, where I seen it as more of an opportunity of growth and how can I grow. So I think the biggest obstacle, apart from trying to build your school or your gym up, and make new renovations or whatever it is. Apart from all of those things, I think the biggest obstacle that I've ever faced in business so far would have been COVID and trying to survive through that.
Yeah.
Especially when you're still trying to, pay the rent on time, but not having people come through the door. That was a big challenge.
I find that inspirational because here it is. You've been given a bad deck of hands.
Yeah.
A bad deck of hands. Bad hand of cards.
Yeah.
And instead of saying, "Oh no, it's done for," you're already looking for that.
Yeah, well, what's the next part?
Yeah,
what
what's
do I
the
need
next
to do?
part? What can you do?
Yeah, that's right. And I've always been like that.
Yeah.
The moment, let me tell you this: when I bought this property here at GMF, where we are now, the moment we got the keys on the Friday, the next day we were in lockdown.
Oh my gosh!
And that was a Saturday.
Been devastating.
So then the Monday that I already had tradies booked in for a demo, for renovations, everything going on, all the tradies, electrical, everything all set up. From the Monday, but Saturday, that day, we had lockdown.
Wow.
And I just bought the property. So, it just goes to show that if you're really determined and get things done, and hadn't I pushed through lockdown, there's no way I could open my doors when lockdown was finished. Yeah, so I'm glad that I had a lot of support, and especially one of my good friends, Bruno, who helped me a lot through lockdown. If it wasn't for him, it would have been tough.
Yeah.
Because he's just the go-to man when things need to be done. He was the go-to man. Him and Luke. Yeah, both those boys really helped me through lockdown and got things done. We had a small crew of GMF members helping us, making sure that things were done as well. So I was very blessed in that sense. Yeah.
And I think you've attracted so many awesome people in life just because of who you are. So got to give yourself credit where credit's due. I feel like, in a way, that just how we met, for example, I sensed that. I was at a point in my life, I was like, I needed direction. I needed someone to keep me going on what was that example you gave? Was that GMF train? I feel like we should get into that success GMF train, because I feel like I was on the wrong train before I met you at GMF. So the fact that you pushed through COVID, if you didn't have done that, then I don't know where I'd be in my life at the moment. Yeah. So thank you.
No, you're welcome.
Let's get into the GMF Success Train. What is it?
The GMF Success Train. So it's a concept that I've made up in my own head. It's a train where obviously people will have two ideas. One is people will be inspired by something, or they're desperate for something, which is why a person will make a change in their life. So with those two things, in either being inspired or being desperate, the success train is something built on a scale where you are heading into your direction or whatever your goal or passion is, and in your life there will be many people that will want to jump onto your train and also go to the same destination. But at times people want to get off because they don't want to pursue or achieve those goals. So that's the success train, and no matter how hard the obstacle gets, you want to make sure that you're still heading in that right direction. Sometimes life can get in the way of things, and it's up to you if you want to get off your train or stay on. Or if better, be the driver, and keep driving that train. There will people that always want to get onto your train and try and manipulate your train, but you need to be strong enough to make sure that your train is still heading in that direction. And that's why I was saying you're either going to be inspired by something or you're going to act on desperation, because wherever your success leads you, you're either going to be leading through that inspiration, or you're going to be leading that train through desperation. And so you just need to make sure that your goal is clear, and that's pretty much sums it up with the success train.
That's beautiful. Yeah. So with your success train, where are you headed at the moment? Where do you want to head to?
What I want to head to? I just want to keep doing what I'm doing and just get better at it. I've been blessed for so long now to keep doing what I'm doing, but I just think that I'm still just getting started.
Yeah, only the beginning.
Yeah, it's only the beginning for me. So I'm still learning, and I'll always forever learn. I'll always be a student of life. I'm never a master of anything when it comes to
Jack
life
of all
itself.
trades.
Yeah, but I will try my best.
Yeah.
My biggest goal is to make sure that I'm still driving my train and I can carry all my people with me. And I want to extend that train.
Yeah.
You know, I want to make my train bigger and bigger and bigger, but have the right passengers, you know, so that together we can all achieve success at the end, you know.
You speak about right passengers. How do you know if someone's a right passenger or not?
Well, sometimes you don't. You know, I say this to Shez, my wife. I say that when people want to exit out in your life, they exit themselves. You know, they just know that their time's up, and so they get off the train. You know, and then a new person might come onto the train and then carry through. You know, so how do you know? Sometimes you don't know, man, because in today's era, some people are really good actors and actresses. You have to give them the benefit of the doubt, but you can't always judge someone by by the book of their cover.
Yeah.
You know, you have to give them the benefit of the doubt. So, you know, you just do your thing, and if they're not for you, they'll exit themselves. You know, so
I think today's society, I think we are so interconnected nowadays. So it's easy to see what everyone's up to, and so, you know, someone can have bad intentions, someone can have good intentions. You'll never know.
That's right.
You can't really judge it again by the cover of the book. So
yeah, that's right. That's right.
Okay, well, I think we're at time. I really wanted to get into your classic physique story and everything else.
Yeah, we can do that whenever you're ready.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Let's do it. Okay, well, thank you so much for jumping on the podcast. I really appreciate it. I think everyone today listening in, whether you're listening from Spotify, Apple TV, wherever you're listening, if we're watching it on YouTube, feel like we've all learned something new about your story. I certainly did not know many things from your upbringing, and it's very inspirational. I feel like a fire in my heart, and I feel very privileged to be speaking to
You're
you
welcome.
and to be telling your story today. So I feel like this is like a part one series.
Yeah.
I feel like there's definitely needs to be a multiple episode series, and I know you're a very busy man, so I just wanted to cap it at that 30-minute mark. But I guess to end things, what would your advice be to anyone at the moment going through a bit of difficulty? They want to wake up at 4:30 in the morning. They want to, get into martial arts. They want to get into fitness, and they can't stick to a habit. What would your advice be for them?
I would say that being disciplined is such an important tool to have, and you can't read it. You gotta to learn discipline. You actually have to practice it. So, if you want to wake up at 4 o'clock, if you want to stick to your diet, you want to train whatever you want to do, whatever you want to pursue in, you need to practice it and practice it over and over and over and over again. No matter how many times you stop, you got to start again and practice and go and go and go. Every time you start again, you need to reevaluate, where did I go wrong, and then go from that. So I think the biggest advice I give to people is learn how you can be disciplined. And just by being disciplined in one area can then translate to another area, and then again into multiple areas in life. You can use it in bodybuilding, martial arts. You can take it into your life, disciplinary acting, being a father, businessman, into your studies at uni, all of those things.
Certainly.
So I think that's something that people lack today, is discipline. And the other part too is being consistent. Learning to be consistent, doing it no matter what. And this is where discipline comes in, is because when you're consistent, you're doing it ongoing, right? But then sometimes, like, when you're not disciplined, you don't feel like doing it, right? So therefore, by practicing it, you get into a habit, and therefore you're doing it regardless if you want to do it or not. You got to do it. Wherever you love it or not, you're doing it. And that's why discipline is so powerful.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So,
I feel like your story, it all it's a beautiful story. And you know, your work ethic, your hard work, your discipline, your consistency, it's all led to the moment right now where you're sitting, and it's only gonna triple. It's only gonna, you know, quadruple. I like how you mentioned the fact that, you know, if you're disciplined in one area, it ripples through to every other aspect of your life.
It can ripple in everything you're doing. You know, even the way you fold your clothes, making your bed, brushing your teeth. You know, if you say something, you make sure you back it up.
You do it with action.
Have the discipline to back it up.
Yeah.
Don't tell something, or don't say something, or tell someone something, and then not have the discipline to back it up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So discipline can be inputted into so many things. You know, if you're going to water your plants, make sure you water your plants. You know, everything.
Yeah.
So, but saying that, I'm not saying that, you know, I'm a master of everything in life. Like I said, I'm still learning, you know, and I will be continually learning for the rest of my life, you know. So it's just different elements of my life I have more discipline in, you know.
I love that. You're a student of life. And
yeah, student of life. Yeah. If anyone out there that's a master of life, I'd like to know.
Well, if there's anyone else that's close, that's you, Sensei.
Thank you.
But yeah, thanks so much for coming on the podcast, and I can't wait for the next episode. We'll cover
Me too.
bodybuilding.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
All right, guys, if you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to reach out to Graden if you have any questions. Graden, where can they reach you?
They can reach me via Instagram, GMF Team, or Facebook, TeamGMF, or our website, teamgmf.com.
Beautiful.